Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Hope Springs Conversation.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Hi. Um, so we've decided to do it a little bit differently. It's in the evening, not in the morning, first of all. And we are going to talk about obstacles that we face um, during on the way to success.
Yeah.
And it's just something that we briefly talk about, and then I was like, okay, let's record.
Yeah. So it's
Uh,
quite impromptu, and normally we would prepare a bit more, but we just thought, why not? As we're in the moment, let's just see what comes of this conversation. So,
exactly.
yeah, we're going to be surprised by the end result as well, aren't we?
Yes, yes. So we just go with the flow.
Yeah.
So I was just saying, like, obviously, we spoke a little bit about our limiting beliefs.
Hmm.
So you mentioned something about your limiting belief. If you can just mention it again.
Yes. So how I see limiting beliefs is more that belief that I always describe it to my clients, like, when you have a record, that annoying song that you have in your head and it just won't go away. You don't like the song, but can't stop thinking about this song. And so I always think of it as like that voice or voices in your head that's telling you you're not good enough, you will never make it. Who do you think you are? You're too ugly, you're too fat, you're too this, you're too that. As such as it's really a negative voice that's stopping you from moving forward, or you're not good enough. So I was just saying that sometimes for example, one of my limiting beliefs is more around my health. So when I'm in a situation where I'm under pressure, I suddenly go back to, oh, I'm too tired, or I'm not like strong enough, or I haven't got enough energy. And I really have to push through that and talk to that voice in my head and say, no, in fact, I'm probably much more aggressive to the voice in my head by telling the voice to shut up. But sometimes I might say to the voice, oh, okay, so probably I'm just maybe feeling a bit worried and maybe I'm tired, but I have to be able to trust myself that I can do this because I want to push myself to make sure that I can achieve something rather than giving up every time I feel tired or exhausted. And so that's what I was talking about. And you were saying about yours?
I think it's like the story of immigrant that it's gonna be more like every time I face some obstacles, it's coming up as like, oh, it's just because you're immigrant, that you're not from here, you don't belong, and it's gonna be just more difficult. People won't accept you. So I think very often I hear that voice, and I'd say there's a lot of those limiting beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Depending, I remember, obviously when you're a small child, you're more prone to different comments of
Mm-hmm.
what
Yeah.
other kids are telling you. So, like, I remember once a girl from my class told me that, oh, you speak very slow. And
Mm.
that it was just like I felt it so much, and
Yeah.
from that time, then I was like, don't speak slow. I'm gonna speak very fast now. So I was so it was very funny, and now I am actually trying to slow down because I know that it's not helping
Uh,
me.
So her comment made you move from speaking slow, which was your natural way of speaking, to trying to catch up and speak really fast.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
which is very funny.
It's quite interesting because I was doing some supervision today, and it was a joint supervision, and this person who is the head of the company, she was saying that she made some decisions, and it was the right decision, but what happened is that the company has made a loss this year because of that decision. But she keeps thinking every time she goes into a meeting, people are going to start saying that, you've made mistakes, you're not, you haven't done the right thing, you're not good enough. Um, and all those voices in her head, she keeps waiting for them to attack her. And so we were talking about that, and I was asking her about, okay, so where's that voice coming from? And one of the voices was her mom's voice around, you shouldn't um, waste money. You can't take too much risk. And then another voice was her dad saying, actually, sometimes you might have to take risks. So then I was asking her, what's the third voice? Is there a third voice? And then she said, actually, the third voice is my instinct, my intuition. I know that I've made the right decision and it's going to work out in the end. So I was just thinking in terms of you and the talking, because your natural inner self is that you talk slow, and
Hmm.
that's okay. But then when we try to please other people, then we try and change our way of thinking, isn't it? Of being and
Yeah,
trying to fit in.
that's true. That's very true. And I
Mm.
suppose with regards to the mistakes, um, very often I actually also have very interesting conversation with my friend. It's like
Mm-hmm.
the culture is focused so much of mistakes, and even though you could be the most successful person during you throughout your whole life, you make
Yeah.
one mistake and you're cancelled.
What do you mean? That says, what do you mean? Explain a bit more.
So
Have
for
you got like an example?
So, for example, I know many people that work in companies, they were quite successful, but for example, they
Mhm.
run into burnout or they have difficulty in their performance from whatever reason. And then they are being let go of or they are being put on PIP,
Yeah.
so it's just
I
very
think I don't
tough.
know what to.
No worries at all. So I'm not sure, with that kind of culture in mind, where are we going to as human?
So are you saying that in terms of that, the person who might have made a mistake or be let off from the job, they will then start to have that idea in their mind that
Yeah,
they're not good
they
enough
would,
or they
yeah,
don't.
they would think that there's something wrong with them and they won't be able
Mm.
to be successful anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think some of that, you're right, comes from work. Some of it might come from our family or our school or environment where um, you grow up in a family that kind of makes you start to think, probably like you were talking about this man, isn't it, the coach who where he how he grew up, and then he had this idea that he wasn't bright enough or clever enough, and therefore he kind of held himself back.
Hmm. Hmm. I like the thing that he said
Mm.
that you are bigger than your circumstances, um,
Mhm.
and you have to believe that, which is very powerful. However, as we mentioned before, this chatter comes back even further, or it's louder in your head when you have many things going on in your life that knocks you down.
Yeah, yeah. So what are some of the things that you've done in order to overcome when that happens and when those voices show up and when you're feeling like less than, or the voice about being an immigrant shows
Hmm.
up? How do you manage it?
So obviously, I don't think you can ever remove that voice
Mhm.
100%. We can talk about imposter syndrome. I think it's much more complicated than just thinking
Mhm.
happy thoughts and everything. It's ongoing work. Um,
Mhm.
and you will have ups and downs. For me, what worked and what works, and to a certain degree, sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. It's like I'm
Mm.
trying to find in my head evidence of like, hold on a second, just
Mhm.
because I don't know, you didn't something to that degree that you wanted, that doesn't mean like you had 100 times of success in that area, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm just trying to come up with more logical explanation to this crazy chatter.
So you're basically saying, what's the evidence to say that? that this is the right thing or the way right you're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, like, I'm trying to let things go because, at the end of the day, we're all humans. We make mistakes. We are allowed to make mistakes.
Mm, yeah, yeah. It's true, and I think it depends because sometimes you have to very ignore it and let it go, and sometimes you have to challenge that voice in your head, especially about your worth and your value. So, because sometimes I think if we're using the example of like, I'm not good enough, that can hold you back because it can hold you back from taking risks or going for opportunities, whether it's in job or relationships. um and sometimes you might not be good enough for the job, but you know what I mean. But you have to sort of like there is sometimes you have to challenge that by taking the risk, maybe seeking help, or like you said, to kind of look at, well, what's the evidence for that? Because actually every time that I've done this, I've got good feedback and good report from like my supervisors or my colleagues. So why am I thinking that?
Mm.
And actually, I noticed people who are really high performance or high achievers tend to do that more. Like they're constantly trying to climb the ladder and like going to the next thing and the
Yeah.
next thing and the next thing. And they keep thinking, oh, if I only achieve this and if I only do this, then I'll be happy. Or if I do something else, I'll be happy. And in a way, they're creating their own obstacle
Mm-hmm.
in a way. They're blocking their own self from moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's important to distinguish between yourself and your behaviors. Like, just
Mm-hmm.
because something happened, that doesn't change who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. Sometimes I think just because we are tend to focus on negativity so much,
Yeah.
we might extend all the expectation in our performance, and we might not, we'd be like, maybe it was a good luck, whatever. We'd be like, it it just happened. Where if we fail on certain level, we'll be like, oh, I'm such a failure.
Yeah. And I think we maybe sometimes we're trying to measure ourselves with other people.
Hmm.
So we're trying to, you know, validate or look at how successful we are by competing with other people or measuring ourselves with someone else who might be doing the same job. Or I suppose women are probably, I don't know if they're worse because I don't know what goes on in a man's mind, but women, especially when it comes to the way we look, or things like that, we will be trying to like compete. Like for example, actually today, one of my clients, I mean, I think I'm not overweight, but I'd love to be slightly less than this weight.
I
Because I
think
over the years,
I'm not sure
uh,
I think you're perfect. I don't know what you're
well,
talking.
that's a limiting thing, yes. So limiting idea, which is quite interesting. This is what I'm saying that so because I over the years I know that I've put on considerable amount of weight for with the size that I am, but it doesn't mean that I'm not happy. I'm actually okay with it, but there are times that I think, oh, maybe I probably have put on a bit too much weight. But interesting that my client was saying to me, I think she looks perfect, and she's like, oh, I wish I was as slim as you. I was thinking, she's telling me that I'm slim. Can she see herself? So a perfect example how we compete, isn't it?
Mhm.
And or we measure ourselves because when she's looking at me thinking she wants my size. And I was thinking, actually, I thought she was really beautiful and she looked great where she was. So something in her head was saying to her that she's not good enough, her size is not the right size, or she's not whatever. So to me, that's a limiting belief. And where did that come from? It's that cultural ideas and or society's idea of what beauty should look like.
Yeah.
Like we have to look a particular way, have a certain size, and if we don't, then we're not good enough.
Uh-huh. That's true.
Mm.
And I was actually thinking about it recently. I think something just came up as a post on social media, and that
Mhm.
made me. Oh yeah, now I remember. It was post about. It was from the personal trainer saying, "Oh, um, now it's the challenge to fight your cellulite, blah blah blah." And I was thinking in my head,
Fight your cellulite.
yeah. And now I was thinking in my head, I wanted to write it, but I actually stopped. I was like, I actually love my cellulite. One of the things that I actually don't mind.
Mm, yeah. Did you respond to him and
No,
ask him what is he
no,
talking about?
no. It was a lady actually. She has a
Mm,
perfect body, and fair enough to her, like, But in a way, I was like, I actually love it. Why
yeah,
would you
yeah.
say like I have to fight it? I love it.
But that's her belief system around what healthy looks like and cellulite. Well, we need cellulite on our bodies, don't we?
Yeah,
You need a bit of cellulite, I don't know the biology behind it, but it's and also the word fight. Why do you have to fight your cellulite?
yeah,
That's quite an interesting language as well in itself. Um,
yeah.
yeah, but people also judge you. She might look at you or me with some cellulite and judge that and say, there's something wrong with you. And then if you weren't confident enough, or you didn't believe in yourself, or you didn't like your cellulite, you weren't in love with your cellulite, you may then start to judge yourself and think, oh, I need to change this,
Hmm.
or I need to look this way, etc. So there's so much pressure as well, I think, in terms of kind of like how that might put obstacles not necessarily in your way, but someone else, like a younger person who is not very confident about the way they look.
Hmm. Yeah, it must be horrible. And I was just thinking,
Mm.
cellulite is the least of my problems. you know, we're not for real. Like I do think
Oh.
that, and I know it's much easier. Um, and I'm very I often think that instead of thinking about to be well mentally, accept yourself.
Mhm,
Obviously I don't say that exercising is wrong. No, I do believe it's a part of healthy lifestyle.
mhm.
um but let's not get paranoid about
Yeah,
things
yeah.
you know
So I guess what I suppose in a way, just kind of, I'm not tracking the conversation, but some of the things that's coming up that I'm standing out for me is that the obstacles that gets in our way sometimes is not, sometimes it's us who puts that limitation on ourselves, and sometimes it's other people that puts the limitation on us.
Mhm.
So it's
And
like it's working two ways.
yeah, and I guess depending on how much internal work you've done yourself,
Mhm,
that you can respond accordingly to your true
mhm.
self. Because probably 10 years ago I'd be like, oh my gosh, I have
Yeah,
self.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
I actually love my body. I'm very grateful for what it's doing for me. Very often, like for example, if I experience pain, I'm I actually thank my body to carrying me around, because it's a huge job if you think about it, and we
Yeah,
forget
yeah,
about it so much that
yeah.
we should be
That's true.
grateful for our
It's true.
amazing bodies.
Mm, yeah, that's a good point. I'm so I've just kind of, I was thinking of something and I've just lost it. Trying to connect with what you were saying. But what am I trying to say? You can maybe, can you read my mind?
Not this
Oh,
time.
I know what I was gonna say. I was gonna think about, maybe I have a fascination with women and how we respond to those obstacles. But also, I think also my fascination, maybe that links to your story around being an immigrant, because of course I'm an immigrant as well. Sometimes I have to remind myself because I've been here so long. I sound like it and I look like it in many ways, but sometimes I forget. And sometimes I have to remind people that I am also an immigrant when you hear comments, those
Yeah.
sort of racist comments. But because sometimes people want to align you, they want you to agree with them, and like, actually, I'm an immigrant as well. But I think it's that story of difference and being unique, because I think sometimes what I notice, I don't know if you've noticed that, if you're a bit quirky, if you're a bit different, if you're got a bit more cellulite or whatever that is, people put limitations on you that you have to fit in. You
Mm-hmm.
can't be different, or you can't be odd, or you can't be quirky. And so in a way, sometimes when we fall, we have those obstacles, we maybe take it in terms that there's something wrong with us. There
Mm-hmm.
must be something wrong with me. Why people not accepting me? Why people think that me being, this color, this culture, or this shape or size, if there's something wrong with me, then I need to change it. And because we're spending so much time trying to change it, that can become an obstacle in itself.
Hmm. That's very true. I actually watched a movie some time ago, The Accountant. I'm not sure if you've seen
Remind me what that's about. Well, tell me what it's about. I can't remember. I never remember what I watch most of the times.
it.
Honestly, my brain, yeah, I can't. Yeah, tell me what
It's
it's about.
quite an old movie with Ben Affleck.
No, I don't think I've seen it now.
Uh,
No.
it, so it was a story about this boy who was
Mm,
either autistic or had Asperger's.
mm,
Um, and his father was in military, and he wanted to prepare his boy for all the obstacles that were coming his way. So he
mm,
trained him excessively, and he had this just flair, as it happens often with those people who are challenged that way. He was very good in maths, so he was picking
mm,
it up like this. So then he became an accountant, but kind of dodgy one, and blah blah blah. So I won't
yeah.
get into the whole story, but what I really what struck me when his father was telling him all the time, son, you have to do this and that, because sooner or later different scares people.
Difference.
Mhm.
Being different scares people. Ah, yeah.
And
And
there
why
there
did that stand out for you most of all?
because I do believe it's true that it
Mm,
can be just very intimidating for other
mm,
people
yeah,
when you're different.
yeah. And interesting because I was reading recently something, but also the difference can be one strength.
Yeah.
Being different is the strength. Being different is the thing that actually makes you who you are and being successful. And most of the time, we're trying to, well, in the past, I did that as well. You try to fit in and to, assimilate and look, not stand out too much or not be too visible. And then you suddenly realize, well, actually, being different, that's actually attracting people to me, or being different is what makes me um, who I am and what makes me successful.
Hmm.
And I suppose the negative side is that those people who can't, um, who don't like the difference, it's more about them, isn't it?
Yeah, true. And that,
Yeah.
and plus, like, if you are different in, and we are all different,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know, more or less, but we are all different. We just have to prepare ourselves for rejections and all of those other obstacles and limitations that other people will put on us.
Yeah. 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 And I guess that kind of leads, which is another tape, another video, but that leads in terms of when you do that work, you become aware of what your values are, isn't it? What your core values are, who you are, and what drives you, what's important for you in life, who you are from within yourself, but
Hmm.
also your principles. And once you can understand that, it becomes less and less an issue, maybe worrying about what other people think as well, because then you're more focused on you, because you're more clear about your path is ahead,
Hmm.
what in terms of moving forward.
Hmm. Yeah.
But it takes work. It takes work, and it takes willingness to stop and actually be curious enough to make kind of see that you want to um, get more clarity about your life. You want to get more clarity about like what is stopping me from succeeding, what is stopping me from moving forward. And sometimes maybe there's no block, but because we're comparing ourselves, thinking that we have
Yeah.
to do this, then it becomes a block in itself. And
Mhm.
sometimes maybe we're in the right place right now and there's nothing to do. There's no obstacles really, but just to enjoy and appreciate how far we've come.
Yeah, that's true. That's a
Mm.
very good one. I
Oh, pay me later.
so I think it was a good conversation. Very
Mhm.
good few insights. Um,
Mhm.
I think it's time to wrap up,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that's it.
Oh, you just froze a bit when you said time to wrap up. So yeah, it was just good to do this, and also to we've been taking more risks recently, haven't we? Because we did the live. Well, first it was the first for me, so that's probably breaking a limiting belief for me around social media, and another obstacle that I overcome. I kind of see them as hurdles that I jump over one hurdle and then the next, and it was really good to try and you introduced me to doing live sessions on Instagram. That was fun.
That was good.
So taking risks, and this is another risk because we haven't actually, as we said at the beginning, prepared to do this. This was just impromptu. So this is another risk that we're taking as well.
How adventurous are we?
Yeah. So yeah, it's fun. It's
Yeah,
very fun. Yeah.
we really encourage everyone else to take those risks too.
Yeah. It's a good way to get rid of the blocks, the obstacles,
Yeah.
one step at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just like a quick announcement as well that we now have a big offer for everyone
Mhm.
who wants to join. It's a coaching program that will help you also to overcome the obstacles,
Mhm.
uh, and form like a more structured vision for yourself and who you are. Uh, so it's 3 months uh, in which you will have three modules, and we will strip everything.
Mhm.
We will go very deep, just so you understand who you are and overcome the obstacles that came during your journey, where you are now, and what you can do to move you forward.
Yeah.
Right? Did
Yeah.
I explain that all right?
You did very well, yes. Yeah. And how can they get in touch if they want to sign up for this program, this 3 months coaching program?
So obviously, I'm gonna put maybe our emails here, so you can
Mhm.
check it out. Also through our website, I will put more on the social media everywhere. The page will be there, so just stay tuned, and you will have all the details on how you can sign up. We're gonna have a great surprise for early birds.
Yes.
It's gonna be additional discount, but everything will be published hopefully tomorrow if my internet won't stop working again.
Yeah. Yeah. But
So
if not, people can always contact us
yes,
through emails and then we can send all that information as well.
yes, yes, definitely. So
Mm.
yeah, we are very excited about that because this is something that we both learned not only from the professional experience, but we went through that, um, and we coach our clients on this.
Mhm.
So not only we are living examples, you
Yeah.
know,
With cellulite.
but also we transfer that
Yeah.
knowledge on our clients and we can see them progress through life much quicker because, as I
Mhm.
said earlier, it doesn't matter how many self-help books you
Mm.
have on your shelf. You really have to do the work, and it's much easier and quicker to do the work if you have someone with you. And we are the
Yeah.
support, and we can help you with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really looking forward to starting the program because, like you said, it's based on personal experience, but also professional experience. And we know it works because we've tried it on ourselves. We've had years of doing this, the experience, and then just transferring it to our clients as well. And we've got really amazing feedback as well from our clients. So it does work. So I'm looking forward to. And I guess it's for people who are really committed, as you said. It's not just, if you know, it's a huge investment in terms of your time and your money. So you need to be serious about committing to the program and sticking with it for 3 months, and you get the benefit.
But it's like definitely worth it, because
Hmm.
I can see it from myself. Since I've started working on myself, my relationship improved so much.
Hmm. Yeah.
I no longer look left or right.
Yeah.
No, I'm much
Yeah.
more clear than I
Yeah.
ever been before. So yeah, I highly recommend that.
Yeah, yeah. And for me, it's more, I've noticed my own journey over the years is that I'm actually much more confident in who I am, what I want. I'm much more clearer, and I don't actually react and respond as probably as I used to before, in terms of getting, I was a sensitive one in the family, like, or even in my marriage, like getting upset quite quick. And I notice now I'm much more able to manage my emotions. And not that I don't have emotion, I don't cry, but I'm not as reactive and responsive. I feel more calmer within myself, more at peace, because of the work that I've been doing in terms of that, using some of those principles from the program.
So yeah, it's like a step from reacting
Mm.
to, just observing things and then doing something about it if needs to, even because
Yeah.
sometimes you don't have to do anything.
Yeah, being more present, really. It's being more present, because when you're more present, you can be able to observe, you feel more, you can feel emotions, like you said, like you can feel your pain, you feel your sadness, you feel your joy, but you also observe other people's behavior, and you can respond in a more clear, more calm way, and make more sensible decision, or you can choose not to respond. So there's something
Exactly.
about being present,
You're
yeah,
much more
mindful.
selective. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you know how not to waste energy anymore.
Energy management,
There you
which
go.
is part of the program as well.
Yes, that's true.
We're teaching you on how to manage energy as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. So, thank you very much, Hazel. That was a great conversation, as
Thank
always.
you. Yeah. I do really appreciate the time and the space, and also appreciate the people who are listening and commenting and giving us feedback as well.
Yeah, and share that even further so we can reach out more people. We believe that it's gonna help more and more people day by day. So, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.